I have a desire and a thing that I like, and it just so happens to be attached to a man.
Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato.
I'm Greg Dybec.
Just want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's been supporting the Patreon, and also for anyone out there who wants to be a part of the show. You can email us directly at oplpodcast@gmail.com or go to our website, oplshow.com.
Yeah, and if you do want to become a patron, you can head over to patreon.com/OPL show. It helps support the show. You get a ton of bonus episodes. You automatically become part of our Helping Other People organization, where a portion of each month's Patreon goes to a new charity or charitable venture. So a bunch of cool stuff over there. Thanks to everyone who already supports, and feel free to join at patreon.com/OPL show. So we'll get right into today's episode. I think some episodes, the only appropriate introduction is kind of read a piece of the email that we received. I think this is definitely one of those episodes. So I'm just going to read a portion of an email that we received with the subject line, "I am a man infatuated with cock." The message says, "I recently found your podcast, have not been able to stop listening. Y'all are great. So I'm a married man to a woman, and she knows about this infatuation, or you could also certainly call it a fetish. I do consider myself bisexual, but the kicker is I'm not attracted to men. Not a fan of their faces, not a fan of their bodies, definitely not into anything intimate with a man. By intimate, I don't like kissing them or anything like that. However, I get wildly aroused over cock. Not small dicks either, but above average to large cock. I love the way they taste, feel, etc." So this is the email that we received, and we've got the guest on the line today. So thank you for being on.
Oh, no problem at all, guys.
So to kick this off, I guess, how would you sort of explain this in a bit more detail? The email's pretty descriptive, but I guess, how did you kind of come to realize that this is something you're into, being bisexual, but not being into men, but infatuated with cock?
Well, I guess it started way back when I was pretty young, I guess, with experimenting and everything. When it's probably about 11, 12 years old, I had a friend and we just kind of fooled around, and him and I fooled around for pretty much the entirety of school. Then I went my separate way to college, and he was basically the only guy that I ever did anything with, but I always was I found that my porn preference, for instance, wasn't necessarily based on what style it was or actors or actresses, but rather I liked big dick porn. And it just kind of went from there. The aesthetic of them, the way that they, I guess, porn kind of, you could say, warped my image a little bit of things, because just the way they seem to please a woman. And I mean, I've done pretty much everything there is to do with a guy or a penis. And so it just kind of started way back when I was young.
So, it's interesting because you could kind of describe, in the email you said you were bisexual, but you don't like anything intimate with a man. So you've never dated a man. Have you ever kissed a man?
I have kissed a man, but I did not. It was like a pull away. Like, he went to kiss me, and pretty much from then on out, if I ever did anything with a man, it was made pretty clear that I'm not into that.
But you are still into doing things with them in the sense of if it's like only with the penis? Is it like separating like the man from the penis, if that makes sense?
Yeah, basically. That's exactly the way I kind of look at it, is that I have a desire and a thing that I like, and it just so happens to be attached to a man.
So you said that your wife knows about it. Is this something like? Do you guys have like an open relationship? Like, are you like hooking up with men?
No, we don't have an open relationship, and it's not something that either of us desire by any means. We have dabbled in swinging before, and we're open to the idea of bringing in other partners into our stuff. It's just we also have 3 kids. We have busy lives. It's not something that is time, like we don't have time to do stuff like that. And that's completely fine with me. Like we have had situations in our relationship where this fetish of mine has caused some issues, like because I'd get really aroused by the fact of like hopping on hookup apps and talking to men and getting pictures from men with no intention of ever meeting them, because I was married. I'd been with my wife now for about 10 years. But it was more of like I just wanted to see them. I wanted to talk to them and kind of fantasize about it. And then she found out, and it did cause some issues in our relationship, but those are behind us. That part of me is behind us, and I'm way more open, basically. It's always been something in my life that I've hidden. I was raised in a really religious home, in a really homophobic state, and it was something that I was way ashamed of until I met my wife. And the guy that I messed around with in high school just so happened to be really good friends with her best friend. And for some reason, he decided that it needed to be put out in the open. To this day, I don't know if I would have ever told my wife if it hadn't been put out there.
Okay.
Because of how ashamed I was about it.
So did she first find out because she kind of caught you on these hookup apps, or did you tell her beforehand?
No, her friend actually told her.
Ooh.
That her friend told her that I had hooked up with this guy basically throughout high school.
Got it. So do you remember that first conversation that you had with your wife? Because that's probably an interesting perspective from your wife's point of view of, at this point you're married to her, you're not homosexual, but she finds out that you did hook up with a guy and then eventually finds out about kind of reaching out to other guys. So do you remember how that conversation went, where you kind of explained this, fetish or whatever you want to call it, to her, and how did you kind of get that across to her, and how did she take it?
Well, this was really early on in our relationship when she was told about this. So, and she also is bisexual. So it's not something that I ever, I guess, it was just like being with a man in a relationship has never even crossed my mind. And with her, it was just another step in our relationship. Granted, it was a step that I didn't take, but she basically just asked me about it one night. I'm assuming shortly after this girl told her about it. And I was like, yeah, it happened. As for the things that I did while her and I were together, talking to other men and receiving pictures and stuff, that was, there was one that I was booted out of the house, basically. It was cheating.
Right.
And so she has been a very understanding and patient with me about this while I basically grew up and matured and learned from my mistakes. It wasn't really a conversation. It was more of an ass chewing and like, yo, you're fucking up, and if you want to be with me, you need to knock this shit off. And so I did. I mean, she, her and my kids are the most important things in my life. So, and she's also, like I said, she's totally into the idea of bringing either a couple that thinks the way we do, because she also, like I said, is bisexual. So she has desires with a woman. And the thing with her is, like, if I had to scale my sexuality, and I'm like 90% straight. That's how I'd say it. And then for her, she's like flipped. I'm one of the few guys that she even is attracted to. She's considered herself predominantly a lesbian. And so, I mean, we both have these needs, but we also just love the hell out of each other, and we're each other's people. And that's just what, and this stuff is totally on the table. It's just about finding time and lining stuff up.
Yeah, I have to say too, the OPL love connection continues, where we just speak to these guests that just somehow it works out perfectly. And like you said, you just kind of find, your person who is, at least fully accepting of this and kind of understands it. But I'm curious, because I think what's so fascinating, kind of like for us to hear, is if you consider yourself kind of 90% straight, but then there's this infatuation with not being in relationships with men or really doing anything with men other than extreme focus on the male genitalia. So it's like, does a penis get you as aroused as a vagina, or does it lean in one direction?
Yeah, I mean, they get me just as aroused. I wouldn't say more or less, but I definitely am aroused by them. And I mean, doing things with them and stuff like that really, it's a whole different experience. It's like I said, that's kind of in the past, before her and I got together, like, it was like down to business type thing. I didn't hang out with these guys. I didn't want to. It was just, they'd come over and I'd service them, more or less.
So there was multiple guys. I was going to ask you that if the the guy from high school was the only one, but it sounds like there were multiple guys that you've hooked up with.
Yeah, there were multiple ones. I mean, not a lot, because I mean, when I went to college, it was kind of weird, because everyone talks about how that's where you really find yourself and do this type of stuff. And I didn't. I mean, I went to a town that was good. I went to a city that was 5-6 times larger than the one that I live in and went to high school in. And the opportunity certainly was there, but it just wasn't there for me. Like, I think it probably went back to the ashamed type thing. And I did go to a Christian university, of all places, a Christian private university. So it certainly was something that I suppressed in college. And then when I moved back, I had probably 2, maybe 3 years before my wife and I got together. And I wouldn't say I went crazy, but it was about 4 or 5 guys. And I met them through Craigslist. And that was that.
Does this still play a role in your life? Because, like you said, you no longer kind of reach out to these guys. You obviously had that kind of incident and went through those circumstances with your wife where she found out, and you said that you no longer do that. But if you still have this kind of infatuation and this fetish, but you're also not kind of meeting with other couples, as we explained, how are you fulfilling this need?
After the last time that my wife found out that I was speaking to other people, I had to go speak with somebody about this. Like, I needed to talk with a counselor, basically, and we did some couples counseling, and then I did some solo stuff. And one of the tools that he gave me that I never even thought of, which is weird because I love writing, is writing. Like, basically writing erotica about it. And that has been probably the most effective outlet, because if porn does anything, it just enhances it. It just makes me want it more. So writing it down and kind of playing this out in my head, because that's basically all I was doing in these chat rooms, or whatever you want to call them, or hookup apps, is I was just basically sexting. And so where my counselor came in and told me, like, just write it all down, do it in your own head. And that is one thing that I've done. And I mean, as I said, my wife is open to this, and I do kind of, with her knowledge, of course, we kind of look for people and look for candidates that could join us, but it has yet to come to fruition, at least not for a while. We have been with couples before, but I mean, we had our last child. We had our last child probably about 6 years ago, and it was shortly before that, probably about a year before that, when we were kind of active in the swinging scene.
So when you were saying that you were doing a lot of writing, you're talking about like these scenarios of you hooking up with men?
Yes.
And how often do you kind of do this? Like, is this something that you do to kind of like suppress it, or it's a nice outlet, or it's like a way for you sort of to indulge without crossing a certain line?
It's an outlet. It's not meant to suppress. It's meant to relieve the desire for it and kind of live it out in my own head, rather than an unhealthy manner with someone else.
Okay, I was going to ask that about with a counselor. So it's not to, like you said, suppress it. It's not going into counseling or anything saying, these are bad thoughts, I don't want to have these thoughts anymore. It's just, okay, I own the fact that I have these thoughts. I'm married to a woman. I'm infatuated with penis, but this could potentially ruin my relationship because this is a monogamous relationship. So it's just your way to kind of fulfill, these fantasies in a sense, but not, suppress this as like negative thoughts or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. My wife actually still sees this counselor. I mean, he's a great guy. It wasn't like any sort of conversion therapy or anything like that.
Right. We've had those conversations before, which is nuts. So that's like why I brought it up. But okay, so that definitely makes sense. And I'm curious because on that point of conversion therapy and things like that, and you growing up, like you said, in a very religious household or a homophobic household and surroundings, this is kind of a perfect example of just the fluidity of sexuality. And is there anything like you would say to someone who would look at this situation and be like, well, this doesn't make sense, he's just gay, or like if why is he married to a woman, he clearly wants to be with men, or have you ever encountered anyone that has kind of said that or had that opinion about this?
We have a friend she's a lesbian, and she doesn't believe there's such thing as bisexual people, and she thinks that it's either or. And we've both had a conversation with her where we were like, no, that's not the case. Like, I have one desire from a man that, unless my wife puts something on her body, can't fulfill. And she likes, and she just likes women, like a straight man or a lesbian would. Like, she just loves everything about a woman. I mean, there's lots of reasons to like a woman. But for me, it's just, it is kind of weird. And what I'd say to him is that basically I like this. I enjoy this. It's something that I've always liked and enjoyed and done pretty much my entire life. Is when I did this before I messed around with girls. And so it's definitely something that I have tried to tune out and shut out, but it's part of, I guess, who I am and what I like.
Now that it's, I mean, you had one of your wife's friends kind of tell her what was going on. Is it kind of like out there now? Like, does most of the people that kind of are aware of your preference, or is it more so just this thing that you keep within your marriage?
It's something that's kept within our marriage. Only a couple people know. It's definitely something that is on a trust basis. Like I said, we live even today where we live is still pretty damn homophobic.
Yeah, it's funny. This kind of reminds me of, and I don't know, maybe you guys have had similar experiences, but I feel like I've always had friends growing up who have talked about porn specifically and will say like, I can't, like straight men who are like, I can't watch porn if it doesn't have a dick in it. Or like, just like understanding that like central purpose that like a penis serves. And I'm just like recalling so many times when I've had people say that to me for some reason, of just like, there has to, like, I'm not gay, but there has to be a penis in it. And this conversation just reminded me of that. So that's a total aside.
I mean, if you just look at the Pornhub page, I mean, it's all big. I mean, all the angles are made to make things look bigger and longer. And it's definitely a preference. And I don't know if you guys know, but most women watch lesbian porn.
I have heard that.
A lot of women watch lesbian porn.
Yeah, I have heard that. A lot of straight women watch lesbian porn.
So the market isn't, and porn companies know that. People who make porn know that. The market is the big dicks in porn and stuff isn't for the women. It's honestly for men.
I guess it makes sense. But no, I mean, this, thank you for kind of walking us through this. It just really is one of those things that, surface level or at a glance, you just, you can almost hear other people's thoughts of, well, this doesn't make sense, or how is this possible? But, just the kind of matter of fact explanation of this, like, this is the thing I've always liked. This is what I've done. I'm still married to a woman. It's fine. And, I guess what's so interesting is that, I guess, ability you have of just like the separation. I just keep thinking about that of like, this penis is serving a purpose. Like, this isn't the man. I don't want to kiss this man. Maybe I don't even want to talk to this man, but like just the penis. And then I'm going to go home, to my wife and I'm fine. So it's definitely interesting. Something that, we haven't covered before on the show.
Right. And I mean, I think definitely something that people will kind of cock their head to the side and be like, this is odd, because it is. I mean, I acknowledge that it is kind of weird. Like, I don't understand it. I don't try to understand it. I just kind of enjoy it. And then if it ever comes to where I get to indulge in it again, then I will.
Yeah, totally. But it's, it's definitely good to hear that you've kind of found a space now for it to kind of exist, for you to express that. Seems like the marriage is going well in that regard as well, with, open lines of communication. And, I'm sure this just exists in so many ways that we can't even imagine. I think that's what's interesting. Like, who knows? It could be anything. There could be someone out there that's, I don't know, just loves, like, is straight, married to a woman, but like loves guys callous elbows, or like, who knows? Like, anyone can just have something that's not going to make sense, surface level. So it's
like I said, the best way for me to describe it, I think, is probably a fetish rather than sexuality, because I am not sexually attracted to men at all, and so I would say it's probably a fetish, and there are definitely a lot of them out there that we can't even fathom.
Yeah, I mean, from experience of doing the show, I feel like, one thing we've learned is that there is definitely at least one person out there that is into something that you've never thought of before, or never like considered to even be sexual or whatever. Someone's into it. But yeah, we really appreciate you coming on and taking the time and explaining this to us.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
You too.
BetterHelp is online counseling, so if anyone out there has been wanting to dip their toe into the world of therapy and talking to a counselor or therapist, then you can do it through BetterHelp. You could start communicating just under 48 hours. They also make sure that it's very seamless transferring from counselor to counselor, because you have to find the right one that fits best for you. Sometimes people like to bounce around in the beginning to find someone who they're comfortable with, and they make that a very easy thing as well. But they have licensed professionals that specialize in things like anxiety, depression, or family trauma, or things like this. You can find the right person for you. But yeah, there's over 1 million people using their platform to help take control of their mental health, and it's great. I think it's a great way to kind of do that. And also, there's a bunch of different ways that you kind of communicate with your therapist through text, talk, the phone, video chat. I'm pretty sure they'll do anything to kind of make sure you're comfortable. And right now, our listeners will get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp if you go to betterhelp.com/OPL. Okay, so again, that is betterhelp.com/OPL. You get 10% off of the first month when you sign up for their service. But yeah, if it's something you've wanted to try, then try BetterHelp. It's something that I've been doing for over a year now, and I think that it's great therapy. So yeah, go check it out. BetterHelp.com/OPL. Our next sponsor for today is Honey. Honey is a free online shopping tool. It's a free online browser extension that acts as a shopping tool. That's basically going to scour the internet for promo codes and coupons and save you the most money without you even really realizing. All right, so all you have to do is go to these sites. There's over 30,000 stores online that Honey supports, and when you're shopping on their site, when you have this thing downloaded, it automatically finds, it takes what's in your shopping cart, and when you go to checkout, it will show you the best possible coupon code that it could find on the internet or something to save you money. I mean, I've saved sometimes 10%, 15%, 20% on, random things that I didn't even know that I was overpaying for, basically. So it's great. I mean, and there's always, promo codes flying around on the internet that you're not aware of. So this is a great tool to make sure that you're saving money every time you shop online. But yeah, go check them out. Honey, also, it's free. To not have to pay for something like this is just a no-brainer, because you're going to be just saving money. And it's also a good tool, even if you're not saving money, just to know that you're paying the lowest possible amount for these things. Because it'll tell you, like, this is actually the best price, and there is no coupon code. So you're like, boom, all right, cool. I was planning on spending that money anyway. Boom, here we go. But if there is a promo code out there, then you'll get it. But yeah, if you don't have it already, you're just straight missing out on free savings. 17 million members have saved over $2 billion in savings. Okay, so this thing is working. And it's free. It installs in a few seconds. Just go to joinhoney.com/OPL to get it. Again, that is joinhoney.com/OPL, spelled JOINHONEY.com/OPL. Okay, so definitely go get it. I have it on this laptop, my laptop, everything I have. It's there. All right, so saving money, especially now, pandemic, you're going to be shopping online a little more maybe. Boom. Save your money, all right? So go check it out, joinhoney.com/OPL. Our next sponsor is Headspace. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app, all right? If you wanted to get into meditation, then this is the way to do it. I've been using Headspace for over a year now, not consistently because I'm bad with it, but there are some mornings, because the morning is when I like to meditate, because they say that it's very good. It's like a stress reliever. Some people like to do it before bed. It helps them sleep. For whatever reason, I have no problem sleeping. I just pass out and I'm good. In the morning, I like to kind of like have my time, and that's when I like to meditate. But Headspace is like strictly what I use, and it's great. It's very organized. The app is easy to use, and they kind of teach you how to become good at it as well, because it is sort of like a skill. I mean, in my experience, I think you have to like get good at meditating, and they kind of help you along with that. But it's great. I mean, it's backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 5-star reviews, and over 60 million downloads. So, this is the place to be as far as meditation goes. It can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost your focus. But it's great. I mean, meditation, when I go through like spurts of really being on top of it, I feel great and like way more relaxed and sort of like floating in a way. But yeah, Headspace is great. Definitely go check out the app. I suggest this to anybody who feels like, they're just stressed or run down or high strung or any of these things. Definitely, try out meditation. Try it for like a week and see how it does for you. And definitely, use the Headspace app. This is the way you want to do it. But you can go to headspace.com/OPL. And you will get a free 1-month trial with access to its full library of meditations for every situation. Again, that is headspace.com/OPL for a free 1-month trial. All right. That is headspace.com/OPL. So go try it out.
So, we kind of said it all at the end there, but that's a first, I guess. Like he called it a fetish. So, not homosexual.
I'm confused.
But married to a woman, but has a fetish of a penis.
I'm a little confused, and I just didn't want to put him on the spot. Nor do I whatever. But when he's saying he's not sexually attracted to men, isn't he? And like, the question popped into my head too while we were doing this conversation is like, what makes you, like your sexual orientation? Like, what defines that? Like, which genitals you prefer or which people you prefer? You know what I'm saying?
That's how I was taking it. Is like he's talking about sexuality, I think, in the sense of like his desire to never want to like be with that person long term or even intimate. It seemed like there's just a very sexual aspect to the penis for him, but it's not kissing, it's not intimate. Like, he has he loves his wife for that, but this is just purely the thing that he has a fetish for, but it just happens to be the sexual organ of a man, but he's not attracted to men as a whole. I mean, I'm not like pretending that I fully understand. I just think that it's just, I mean, there's nothing to argue if that's what it is for him, and that's how he breaks it down. So I guess it's just kind of
100%. And listen, I mean, I also believe that, sexuality is like this spectrum and it's very fluid, and like there are people who kind of fit, all over the map there. Obviously, I'm not saying this dude is lying or like, whatever. Like whatever he says is what it is. I'm just confused in like how you identify, like how, at least for him, how he would identify these things of being like, I'm not sexually attracted to men. But it's like, well, technically, I guess you are. I mean, I'm talking about terminology for no reason, to be honest. Like I was just confused. I was trying to understand for myself to try and like, I don't even know if I'm making sense right now.
No, same, because it blurs all the lines so much. And like even us going into this very open-minded with kind of an understanding of sexuality as a spectrum, understanding the fluidity, feeling like we have a good grasp of that, right? We have experience doing the show. I feel like we're getting pretty confident, I think, with these conversations now. But then something like this comes in and it's like, I'm going to blur the lines even more here. And I'm not gay, I'm not attracted to men, but I'm attracted to penis. But the way he breaks it down in his mind is that that's not a sexual attraction to men. It's just a fetish about the penis. So like, yeah, it's, I don't know. It kind of reconfigures the whole thing.
Honestly, I thought it was very interesting what he said about porn and dicks, where he was like, the dicks are for the dudes, basically. Which I don't necessarily like agree. I do agree that there's a percentage of straight men that are like, all right, I'm searching big dick porn. And like, why would you search that if not for the fact that like you just want to see a fucking big dick?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean you're gay. It doesn't mean anything. But there is an undertone of like, that's a good dick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I mean, there's someone watching this right now, obviously, that's like, this dude's gay. You can't convince me otherwise. Like, maybe he was raised in a religious homophobic household and it like has warped the way he looks at this, and he's just not fully admitting it and just calling it a penis fetish. Like, I'm sure someone's thinking that, but I don't know. Like, it's just so interesting because it's, I guess in terms of like the definitions of sexuality, like you said, trying to wrap your head around that, I guess you could say it just comes down to how you define those things for yourself at the end of the day. And it seems like he's been able to categorize these things and of course find a woman who understands it.
Loves them, been with them for 10 years. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think that like, people are going to say what they're going to say, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like what I was just doing before of like trying to figure out like which category can I put this dude in so I can better understand. At the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter what I like need to understand or whatever. Like this is what this guy is into. Like, all right, cool. Like, but it's just like, I don't know. Like you said, it's like, it's hard to comprehend as much because it is a brand new thing that I've never like really thought of before, to be like, oh, I'm a straight man married to a woman, just enjoy penis. Don't even enjoy like a man. Like understanding people being as bisexual or being gay, obviously much easier to understand. Just being like, not even that. Not intimate at all.
Yeah.
It's purely for that. Because it's also hard to understand like having sex without even having any sort of feelings involved for this person. It's like literally like a tool, which is basically,
like he said, just servicing. Like that's it. Like it's just me and this penis. I'm literally pretending there's not even a person attached to it.
Right. And that's all that adds to why I'm confused. Like, why it's a little harder to understand, because that concept in and of itself, I would be like, what does that mean? Like, even if it was like a straight man being like, no, I don't like women and I don't like men. I just like vaginas. I'd be like, I'd be confused by that too,
Yeah.
But
I guess you would think that such like a definite infatuation or fetish for something like a penis would mean that it could easily be categorized. Like he's saying things about a penis that you would just think a gay man would say about a penis. But this is a man that's married to a woman, bisexual, but considers himself 90% straight. So again, it's just
and it's also
it's a
like,
mind fuck.
If it is just like the feeling of a penis or the whatever, then a dildo would suffice. But it's because that's not attached to a man, so you'd be like, and you're not into a man. But I guess, it has to do with like a living, actual, real penis.
A living penis, yeah.
A living penis, yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, and it's one I've never heard of before. But I mean, hey, good for him. I hope that they, find partners that they can kind of mess around with and do whatever they want inside their marriage, whatever the fuck they want to do. Obviously, do that, have fun, go crazy. But yeah, interesting episode. Anyway, for anyone out there who wants to be a part of the show, like I said earlier, you can hit us up directly at oplpodcast@gmail.com or visit our website, oplshow.com. Send us an email and we'll go through it.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram at OPL Podcast. And like I said, if you want to join the growing Patreon that we have and become a member with the rest of the Patreon crew, you get bonus episodes, weekly bonus episodes behind the scenes. So you'll actually know the episode that we're doing on Thursday before that episode. You can watch us kind of prepare and talk through it. You get bonus episodes that will never appear on this main channel. You get our Discord chat where we speak to previous guests and you can talk to us and other listeners. And like I said in the beginning, you can become part of what we're calling Helping Other People, where we donate a portion of the Patreon funds to a new charity or charitable venture, and we kind of all get to talk about what that's going to be for the upcoming month and figure out how we want to put that money to use. So check us out at patreon.com/OPL show, and that is all.
That's all. We'll see you guys next time.